We are live. Hi everyone, welcome back to Codera. Today in this video we'll be discussing the LeetCode daily challenge for 24th of January, that is Monday 2022. The name of the problem is detect capital. Previously this problem has been asked in Google. As you can see in the test cases also Google name is also mentioned. So this problem has been previously asked in Google. This is a very easy problem, but the thing is that for this particular problem the challenge that lies ahead of you is how do you write various approaches in an optimal manner with the cleanest code possible, right? So quickly consider giving me a +1 in the chat if I'm audible to everyone and my screen is also visible, and then we'll start with the discussion for this particular problem, right? Like in this particular problem what you'll be given is you'll be given a word, right? You'll be given a particular word, and with that word you have to tell whether it is according to the notation that has been given to you or not. Like if I am saying that if I have a word code, right, so in that case I'll say that it is okay. Why? Because all of the letters are capital for code, right? If I have the word where C is capital and I have ODE, this is also fine because the first word is capital, right? If I have a word that is CODE where all of the characters are small or lowercase, in that case I'll say that this is also valid, okay? But if I have something like this, if I have any character which is in between which is capital, then in that case I'll say that no, it's not fine, and I'll say it's invalid, right? Let's check out the test cases. So if you have USA, in that case all of them are capital, so that's why it's valid. If you have a word like this where you have this thing like LeetCode, so here you can see all of them are small, so that's why it's valid. If you have Google, so it's valid because the G is capital, the first character is capital, right? So this is what the problem says. Now with this particular question you also have, let's say you have a flag, so you have flag where F is capital, so that is fine, but your G is also capital. So since your G is capital here, so in this particular case what will happen, since your G is capital, so it's invalid. Why? Because either all of them should have been capital or this G should have been small, right? So this is the situation that lies ahead, right? So now with this particular problem there are several things that you have understood, right? So what are the things that can happen? Now you will say that okay, you will give me a word, you will say that okay, you will give me a word, let's say you give me code or anything. So what I can do is I can have a counter of capital words and I can count what are the total words that are capital, right? I can keep a count of the capital words. Hi Vanshika Kapoor. I can keep a count of the capital words. I can also keep a count of the lowercase letter words, right? And what I could do is, what are the things that are valid? Let's recall that. So if I have CODE in which all are capital, so in that case my total number of capital characters would be equal to nothing but s dot size, that is string dot size. In that case I'll return a true because that's valid. If I have, let's say, CODE where everything is small or every alphabet is small, in that case what would happen, my lowercase the count of the lowercase alphabets would be equal to the size of the string, right? The total characters in the string. So that is also fine. So in that case also I'll return a true. If what's the third situation? The first situation is that either all of them are capital, in that case the capital count is equal to the size, or all of the characters are small, in that case the count of the lower characters is equal to the size of the string, that is all the characters. Or you can have something like this, CODE, where this C is capital, right? The first character is capital, like this C is capital, right? So in this particular case what you will say, what will you say? You will simply say that if you are talking in terms of the count of capital and small, what is the capital one if the first character, that is word of 0, that is at the 0th index, that is the first character of this particular word, if it's capital, if it's in the range, if it's greater equal to A and it's lesser equal to like if this is greater equal to A and the first character is lesser equal to Z, capital Z, if this is the case, if the first character is capital, that means that what are all the characters, when will it be valid? It will be valid when all the other characters are small, right? Because you have checked when all of them are like this, all of them are capital, so capital is equal, the total count of capital is equal to the size, that is the number of alphabets. If all of them are small, so total count of lower characters is equal to the size. Otherwise, if the first character is capital, then in that case you need to have the count of your lower, you need to have your count of your lowercase alphabets as nothing but n minus 1, that is word dot size minus 1. If this part is clear to everyone, please consider giving a quick +1 in the chat. Right, is this particular part clear to everyone for this particular question? Right, what I'm saying is either you can have all of them as capital, all the words. If all of the words are capital, then in that case you will say that capital is equal to the string dot size, right? In that case you will check for this. Or you have all of them as small, in that case you will say that okay, my lowercase, the count of all the lower characters, right, the count of all the lower characters is equal to nothing but s dot size, right? Otherwise, if I have C as capital and ODE is small, in that particular case what will I say? In that particular case what will I say? I'll simply say that in that case, if my word at 0, right, if the first character is capital, right, if the first character is capital, it's in the range A and A to Z, if it's in the range A to Z, so that means word of 0 is greater equal to A and word of 0 is lesser equal to Z. So if it's in the range A to Z, right, if it's in the range A to Z, in that case the number of lower letters that are lying in the string should be what? The count of the lower letters, lower alphabets should be nothing but low should be equal to word dot size minus 1, because you have 3 lower characters and that is the remaining number of characters in the string. So that should be the approach, right? So this is the approach 1 for this particular problem. Let me show you the code part for this particular approach. What I am saying is, you make a function that is cap, in which you will be returning true if the particular character is in the range capital A to capital Z. You make a function is small, in which you will be returning true if the particular character that you have is between the range A to Z, small a to small z. Then you keep a count of capital letters, mark it as 0, small letters mark it as 0. Then you iterate through each word of the string. You count the number of if the particular character is capital, then you count it. If the particular character is small, then you count it in small, right? It will be either of the two. Now if my capital number of characters, total count of capital characters is equal to the word length, that is all the characters, in that case I'll return a true. Also, if my all the words are in lowercase, so that means all the alphabets would be smaller, in that case also it would be equal to n, that is the size of the given string, right? So in that case also I'll return a true. Another case is that if my first character is capital, right, if my word of 0, that is the first character, is capital, and my small, right, my count of the lower alphabets is equal to word dot size minus 1, that is all the remaining n minus 1 characters that I have, all of them are small, in that case also I'll return a true. Otherwise, in all the possible cases I would return a false, right? Quickly consider giving me a +1 in the chat if this approach is clear to everyone, right? I hope that this approach was clear to everyone. Now the thing is that how do you move forward? Can we have any other approach? Yes, we can have a second approach for this particular problem. What could be this approach? You can also have another approach, that is, let's say you have C, O, D and E, right? You have C, O, D, E. Let's say you have something like small, let me write it like this, C, O, D, E, or let's say you have something like capital C, O, D, E. Then let's say you have small c, you have O, you have small d and you have E, right? So what can you say? What can you say with this thing? So the thing is that you can observe, like, these would be the 4 cases, and out of these, this is valid, this is also valid, this is also valid. So these things like these are invalid, right? I hope that this much part is clear. So what's the situation like? The situation is that if my first character is capital, right? If the first character is capital, right? If the first character is capital, what are the situations in which the first character is capital, right? If the first character is capital, then what do I care about? If the first character is capital, assume that the second character is also capital, right? If the second character is also capital, so I'm talking about this case. So if the first and the second character is capital, this is a unique case, right? If the first and the second character both are capital, in that case all the characters need to be capital, right? So I'll say that if first and second are capital, then in that case all the characters from the index I is equal to 2 until the length should be capital, right? Like this, all the characters here should be capital. Like if I am writing, let's say code, let's say I'm writing like this, let's say I'm writing code error, right? Something like this. So in that case, if the first two characters are capital, then in that case I know that all the remaining characters should be capital as well. So I'll say that if my word of zero, that is the first character, and the second character, word of 1, both of them are capital, right? If both of them are capital, in that case I'll simply say that I'll need to check that all these numbers in this particular range, like all the characters in this range from I is equal to 2 until the end, all of them should be capital, right? If any one of them is small, in that case I'll return a false, right? In that case I'll return a false, else I'll return a true. Now this situation has been dealt with, right? We have dealt with this situation that first two are capital, right? First two capital, we have dealt with this situation. Now another situation can be that if, like, what's the other situation? The other situation is all these three would come in one situation. What's the situation? Like here you are not caring, you don't care, right? What do you don't care? So is this valid? Yes, it's valid. Is this valid? Yes, it's valid. Is this valid? No, it's not valid. What's the difference? Here you are not considering the first character, because even if the first character is small or first character is capital, you don't care, right? What do you care about actually? You care about that do you have from this particular index, right? From this particular index until the end, from the index I is equal to 1 until the end, that is from the second character until the end, do you have any character which is a capital one? No. From this particular index until the end, do you have any particular character which is capital? No. So that's why this is also valid. The first one also valid because of this. From this particular string, from the second character in this particular string, that is fourth string, I'm checking from the second character until the end. So I can see there are characters, there's at least one character which is capital, right? And this is not valid. So that's why I'll return a false for this, right? So this is what I'm trying to do. I'll check simply that if the first two characters are capital, in that case all the rest of the characters should be capital as well. Otherwise I'll return a false. If all of them are capital, then I'll return a true. Otherwise I don't care that what is the first character, because either it can be capital or it can be small, but I care that all the characters, that is from the second character until the end of the string, all the characters should be small. If any of the characters even, in that case it will not be valid, it will violate my condition, and that's why I'll return a false. Let me show you the code part for the second approach that I have told you. So in this particular approach, what you would do is, also one more thing, like before moving forward, if you just have, these are some of the edge cases that you need to check. If the string is null, right? So if the string size is 0 or string size is 1, so in that case it can be anything, right? It will always be true, because if you don't have any character in the string, or if you have just one character a or small a or x or anything, in that case you will always return a true, right? So what I would be doing is, I'll be checking if the word size is lesser than 2. In that case I'll always return a true, because either it's null or either it's having just one character. Otherwise, if the first two characters are capital, then in that case I'll check from the third character until the last character. If any of the characters is small, then in that case it will be invalid, because since the first and the second character are capital, so all the rest of the characters should also be capital. So that's why I'll return what? I'll return a false if any of the characters is small, because if the first and second are capital, so all the rest should be capital as well. If I encounter any smaller character from the third character until the end, so I'll return a false. Also I need to check if my I'm starting from this thing, right? I'm starting, otherwise I don't care what is the starting character, because it can be small or it can be capital. But what I care is if there is any word which is capital, if there is any character from the second alphabet until the end that is capital, in that case I would be returning a false, and in all the other cases I'll return a true because they will be valid. So this was the approach for this particular problem. This question was asked in Google. So the reason for this question being asked is that you have to try to write and think in the optimal manner, and you have to write in a clean code, right? So this was problem, as I told you, was asked in Google. Might have been asked in any other company as well, but it was primarily asked in Google. So you can try out to submit this problem. You will find the two solutions that I have told you in the description of this video, so you can go and have a look at them. Also consider giving a +1 in the chat if you have understood this problem. And once you submit this problem on LeetCode, you can find the problem link in the description. If you submit it, so if you're watching the recording, you can come back to the video and let us know that you have submitted the daily challenge for today, and I'll be looking at your comment. Thanks a lot for watching, and you can subscribe the channel if you like our content and also like the video. Thank you.